These tariffs could have a significant impact on local businesses and consumers. Joining us is someone who has navigated trade policy from Olympia to Beijing, former Governor Gary Locke of Washington, also the former U.S. Commerce Secretary and U.S. Ambassador to China during the Obama administration. Thanks for being here.
My pleasure, Joyce.
We appreciate it. First, just your reaction to the president's pause announced today.
Well, it's great news. It's certainly going to provide a little bit more calm to business leaders and the markets and retirees all around the United States and to countries around the world that the president has backtracked and will now pause it for 90 days. But not everything has been paused. The underlying 10% tariffs on all things coming into the United States from all around the world continues. The high tariffs on steel, aluminum, imports coming into the United States, and automobiles all stay. And of course, more than 100% tariff on all goods coming from China. Still a lot of uncertainty, and let's just hope that over the 90 days there can be a calming of this trade war. But I'm also very concerned about the war with China, the trade war with China.
125% tariffs against China in retaliation to their retaliatory tariffs, which I think is 84% now. What's the immediate impact for Washington?
Well, it's going to be when China retaliates and puts huge tariffs on American goods going into China, it makes American goods so much more expensive. Mm-hmm. And so the Chinese consumer is going to, just like the American consumer, is going to cut back and say, I'm not going to buy that American product. For us in Washington State, it really impacts our exports of cherries, apples, hay, and of course, Boeing airplanes. I mean, the Chinese don't have to buy Boeing airplanes. They can buy Airbus. They don't have to buy soybeans from Iowa. They can buy from Brazil. So they have a lot of other options.
We want to just give our viewers some context. China is our state's third largest export market. Data from Senator Maria Cantwell's office shows in 2023, Washington exported more than $857 million in food and agriculture, beef, fish, seafood, wheat, and hay, as you mentioned, cherries, dairy, pork. So what's your advice then to farmers? Can they pivot and survive? What's your advice?
Well, they're going to have to try to find some additional markets, and many of their trade associations, grower associations, will try to do that. But at this late stage, it's going to be pretty hard for them to find additional buyers for what they produce. And we saw during the first Trump administration when he imposed tariffs on China, and the Chinese retaliated with tariffs on American goods, especially agriculture, farmers all across America, including our farmers in Washington State, suffered. Now, the government increased their subsidies to some of these farmers, but not all, and did not make up all their losses. So, you know, farming is a really tough business to begin with, and this just compounds it.
And it's interesting that overwhelmingly across the country, almost 40% in Washington, but 77% nationally, farmers voted for Trump this last election, even though he campaigned on tariffs. Is there a disconnect there?
Well, I don't think anybody, including some of his key supporters in the business community, expected tariffs this high. People were thinking maybe 3 to 5%. And so they were shocked that it was 10%. Then they were shocked at the additional tariffs on top of the 10%, including tariffs on Australia and France and Germany and all of our EU partners. And that's why you've seen the market react so negatively, because it just creates all this uncertainty. They know that in a trade war, there are no winners, only losers. The consumers and the workers on both sides of the conflict suffer.
You probably saw the president's post today. In part, he said that China is going to realize the days of ripping off the United States and other countries is no longer sustainable or acceptable. That was his post on Truth Social. Trump has long said that China is taking advantage of the United States and has shown a lack of respect. So what do you say to that? Well,
the United States, business leaders, policy leaders, including those from other countries, the Western countries, have long complained about the industrial policies, the trade policies, the subsidies that China provides and is engaged in, along with lack of strong enforcement of intellectual property rights. But most people say that tariffs is not the way to address those issues.
How do you think that China is going to respond? Having been the former ambassador to China, knowing how they will and probably won't negotiate, how they will respond likely under pressure or threat, what do you think we should expect?
Well, China is a very proud country, and especially the communist leaders do not want to be perceived by their own people and countries around the world as capitulating to America. China has, for quite some time, bristled at the way that America conducts world policy and tries to force its way on all the countries, including China. And this is true even under Democratic and Republican administrations. So China is very, very proud. They feel that they have really highly developed and are now on the world stage, should be treated as equals, as partners, and not talked down to. So I would not expect President Xi Jinping or any of the communist leaders to pick up that phone and talk to Donald Trump and say, let's negotiate.
So what's the next step then? Are we at a stalemate, and how long might that last? I mean, what's next?
Well, let's just hope that perhaps some neutral person or party can intervene. A former prime minister or a world leader can do some shuttle, quiet diplomacy and get the two sides to reach an agreement. Because these tariffs on China double the cost of all products coming from China. And so, that cell phone or that iPhone coming in from China, it will cost the distributor, Apple, twice as much money. All the products that Costco, Target, Home Depot, Walmart are purchasing, so much of which comes from China, they will have to pay twice the amount of money. So if they paid $5 for an item, they will now have to pay $10 for that item when it comes off the docks. It is paid for by the person, the company ordering the product. It's not paid for by China. It is the person, the company ordering the product, and if it doubles in price, they have no choice but to pass it on to the consumer.
That's all the time we have. Thank you so much. We appreciate your insight and just your perspective, and we'll talk with you again as we watch this all play out, hopefully in the short term, but who knows how long this might go on.
Let's hope that it's settled quickly.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.